Hey Kevin,
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing so well. For everyone out there, we don't do videos as often, so this is a big day.
Yeah,
Are you excited, Kev? I'm pumped.
I'm excited. I like it. I like a good video pod.
Yeah, well, let's get into it. Let's get crazy. So before we bring our guest out, we gotta hype you up. Drum roll it, Kev. And that said, hello and welcome to That Tech Pod, where we discuss all things e-discovery, cybersecurity, data privacy, and tech innovation. I'm Laura Milstein.
And I'm Kevin Albert.
And each week we bring on heavy hitters from the industry to help us break down these topics. And today, before you see them, Kevin's going to introduce them. Who are we talking to?
Today we are talking to Gilad Shoham. He is the VP of Engineering at BIT, where he leads the development team and focuses on composable architecture and AI-driven development. Before BIT, he was an architect and a team lead at Sisense, and earlier founded several startups after graduating from an elite IDF programming unit. He is a seasoned speaker, blogger, and podcaster who writes and talks about developer tools, composable software, AI code generation, and smart tech. Beyond his day job, he mentors startups and developers, contributes to open source projects, and organizes two of Israel's largest developer communities, MCP Israel and N8N Israel. A lifelong technologist, he started coding as a child. He won a world chess championship with his team at the age of 12, and he's been a professional debater for more than a decade. Wow. Gilad, welcome to the pod.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
I'm excited that you're here because we all have our black t-shirt theme going on, so we're really blending. But your background wins. Like, I feel like I'm teleporting somewhere. I'm like, where are we going? Let's do this. It's very exciting. But I'm happy here. What time is it for you right now?
It's now 11 p.m.
Oh, wow, you're staying up late for us. I go to
Yeah,
sleep pretty early. I have to admit, I'm not very exciting. Are you gonna go to bed at like 1 a.m.?
yeah, probably. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's second time this week that I'm doing podcast at midnight. So
Oh man, I'm sorry. We would have done it earlier. I feel very terrible now. I'm sorry. You're gonna go to bed right when I'm about to wake up. Like those are the time mixes.
yeah,
But I'm so excited to have you on today because we don't talk about this enough. And I keep saying that for episodes because I feel like lately we've been having a mix of different type of episodes and different people. But this episode's pretty unique because obviously AI, let's say it, everyone's talking about AI. But what you're doing is a little bit different than just AI. You're mixing developers and you're mixing code and you're mixing all these things to say, well, this isn't the same. Like this is AI with these. And I remember, do you know GitHub?
yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I remember like I had a friend who called me when she discovered GitHub and was like, I don't have to write my own code now. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
Hmm.
There's just been so many things. It's even, I remember someone called and was like, I've discovered this company Docker where they have containers. And I was like, what does that mean? And now I'm looking at your screen and your background and I'm like, that's what I'm thinking is like your data is in these containers. And so tech has just changed so much, and AI is one of those terms that is just thrown around and is everywhere. So I want to ask you, just getting right into it, what is Bit? How is Bit using AI and data? Are you similar to GitHub? What are you all doing? Tell us about it.
Sure. So Bit is a company. We are creating tools for developers to basically improve their velocity, their quality, the productivity, and we are working on this mission for a long time, like 10 years by now. And of course, like every other company, in the past few years, we also focus a lot on how AI can help developers and actually every organization to ship software faster and better, because eventually software is the multiplier of every industry. If you have better software, you are better than your competitor, and you can provide more value to your customers. So we want to help these developers to ship faster. And actually, this is funny because we start talking about AI that writes code and generate code many years ago. Like when I joined the company 8 years ago, like 2017, we already discussed how in the future, we will use AI to create code and software, and what needs to be done in order to make this for real, to make this work in production environment for organization, for enterprises. And actually, we developed it for this year to be the infrastructure for the AI world, even before GPT or LLM or even AI was a term that you hear a lot. We didn't even use this term back then. We mostly used like software that write software or machines that write software. So in the last few years, we are working heavily on our AI product. It's called Hope AI. And like I said, this is AI for developers in organizations, in, in enterprises to build production software.
Cool. My understanding is that at Bit, composable architecture is central. For our listeners who aren't really deep in software design, can you explain what that means and why it matters?
Sure. So basically, composable architecture means that instead of creating the same code again and again, we are creating these components. Components, the term component in this context is any reusable piece of code. It might be something in the front end in the UI, like a button, a table. It can be something like a business logic or something in the backend, like a service or something like this, without going too technical. What we do is basically take these components, we optimize each one of these components, take it like to be perfect, and then we combine these components like a Lego, okay, and put them together into a bigger structure. So we take this and this and these components, create a page, create an application, create many applications, and this is very crucial in the world of AI because what differentiates our solution or OpenAI is the way it thinks about what needs to be done in order to create software. While most AI tools trying to read code and write code, but actually the world and software development doesn't work like that. Okay, the fact that you know to read a book doesn't mean that you can write a bestseller, right? There is a big difference. It's same with software. So what we think is that we need to change the task we give the AI. So instead of you need to write code, you need to play with Lego, okay? And not just like a random Lego. You need to play with this specific company Lego bricks, okay? And this company has different Lego bricks than other company. And you need to take the Lego bricks and build cars or houses or in the software world, products and features. So this is like a very different perspective on how we treat AI. So we ask the AI all the time, instead of generating code, you need to compose code. You need to reuse these Lego bricks as much as you can instead of reinventing the wheel every time I give you a new task.
That's smart. I like that. And I mean, I think that's like in anything in life. It's why not reuse it? Why not figure out a way to rebuild this and do something else? So I think that's really smart, especially utilizing AI in that way. I think my biggest question or concern with something like this, and please tell me where you stand on this, but it's about if AI is writing and reusing code, as you're saying, that's the goal. Aren't there some risks with that? Like, what would the risks be around like security for vulnerabilities being introduced when you're doing something like that at scale?
That's a great question. And when we compare it to the alternative, which is not reusing, the risks are much higher. Okay, and I'm not saying that AI is replacing developer, or at least not soon, and that you should just ship your AI code as is to production because please don't do this. Okay, no matter which tool you're using, please don't do. And one option, which is like most tools is doing, is like, okay, we will generate code. Okay, then we generate the same code, basically the same button again and again, 50 times. Okay, which means we have now 50 buttons or 50 utilities, the same utility that we need to check for security, vulnerabilities, and other metrics. Okay, it's not only security, it's also like quality, it's also performance, it's also scale, many perspective of high quality software. And as humans, we are kind of limited of how much code we can read and review. Okay, and the problem with the AI tools in code is that we have become the bottleneck is not creating code but reviewing code. Okay, but if you are doing reusing and you are minimize the code that AI writes because you are prefer reusing, then you can optimize each one of these components all the time. So you get a component from the AI or from a developer, doesn't matter. You optimize it, you improve it, you make it high qualified, tested, scale, secure, whatever. And then when AI create new tasks, is much less prone to problems in the product and to security issues because each one of these parts is optimized by itself. So we basically want AI to minimize the code rewrite and just compose code which is easier and safer.
I mean, you mentioned AI potentially, like obviously not replacing folks, but do you think eventually AI will replace a large part of developers' job, or do you think it'll always be sort of in this co-pilot type role?
I think it will not replacing them, it will replace the jobs they are doing, basically. So I think that we will see developers, maybe they won't be called developers, but other term, I don't know. Maybe they would call AI managers or supervisor, whatever, and it will change their job. So it's even changing the job right now. Okay, we write less code. Okay, people write less code and read more code by the AI, and focus on other tasks like how we stitch everything together, like what is the architecture, what what parts should be connected to other parts, and how we manage or supervise this entire stuff. So we will see people, the same people doing much more work, and it would be a bit different work, but I don't think it will completely replace people in the near future. If we're talking about like 10 years from now, that's how to say, I won't try to guess how the world will be looking in 10 years from now.
I mean, the 10 years from now is the biggest question because in everything that we're talking about, it's like, where will we be next? If you think about things like Facebook was invented, but like 14, 15 years ago, you think about your cell phone. You pay for a cell phone, you pay like, I don't know, over $1,000 for your phone, when before it was just the landline, or before that, the rotary phone, and before that, a pay phone. And you think about just like the small changes in technology and where we've come in small things. I mean, I say to it to somebody who's Gen Z, I like to identify as Gen Z, but people keep realizing I'm not, shockingly. But you say to someone who's Gen Z, you remind them like, oh God, is there no fax number? Does no one fax anymore? And they look at you like you're crazy. But it was so normal to have a fax machine. It was such a normal thing. And I remember even thinking about things like Skype. Like right now, we're recording. What was it, less than 10 years ago? We would be on Skype right now. You would go buy those phone calls to call someone in a different country where you'd have to pay like 2 cents per minute or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And now it's like, what? What are you talking about? I can get on no matter where you are, no matter what time of day it is, and here we are. So constantly things are changing. So when you bring up 10 years from now, I think who's to say? At the same point, I want to say that in some cases, we have been very limited to the things we thought. Less than a decade ago, we were thinking we're going to be standing on hoverboards. We're going to have Rosie from the Jetsons is going to be cleaning our house. Now, did we get there? Well, we got a Roomba, so kind of, but that's not the same. Did we get there with a hoverboard? No, you can stand on a big wheel, but you're not actually floating in the air.
Yeah.
So it's a weird thing where in some ways technology is so quick to change and you can literally hold a phone in your hand and where how is it working? And yet it still can't hover in the air. So I
Yeah.
have a lot of mixed feelings of like where we will actually be when it comes to technology, even in 2 years from now and what that looks like. And I'm curious from your point of view, do you think there's anything like let's developer AI, all of this aside, and maybe this is part of it, but in your honest perspective, do you think there's something that hasn't, nobody knows yet, but is gonna like completely change everything in the same way that you would argue the internet changed everything? That if you had told me before, AOL, or whatever, that you would have Internet Explorer and these great things, the World Wide Web, I would say you are crazy. Like, what do you mean I'm going to be typing to place,
Right.
or how am I ordering something? And now I can't understand life without it. Do you think we're going to have something to that level again?
Yes, obviously, yes. I think that the AI revolution is different than all the other, let's say, revolution in the past, and I think that be much more dramatic than any other revolution because few reasons. Like first, it's like much faster, so you don't have time. Like we as a species, we don't know how to adapt that fast. So this will be a problem. So it is fast and it's much more wide. So when you have like, I don't know, the agriculture revolution, it affects many people, but in the same field, you can change what you are doing. But with the AI, it will affect everything and very fast. And I think one thing that is going to be very, very important is that we are basically, I would call it like the second information revolution or something like this. And actually, it's not the information revolution, it's the disinformation revolution. I think we are going in the next few years to a little bit lose control about what is true and what is not. And this will affect everything in the cultural level. Like we will develop the tools to judge what is true and what is not, but we will have some times that it would be very hard even now. Like what is fake? Is this a real video? Like we used to trust our sense. Like I see a video, I hear a recording, I know this is happening, this happened. Okay, but you cannot trust this anymore. Like in a year from now, you won't be able to distinct, at least not like a regular person without like special tools, between a fake video or audio and a real one. And this will form our cultural general behavior. And when we think about like how AI, even right now, change, like we used to think like 10 years ago that we start talking about AI or machine and robots, okay, in the science fiction books, that we will have robots, like you said, that will clean our house, that will clean our dishes, that will do the laundry, and we will focus on creation, on singing, on painting, or whatever. And actually, it's kind of the opposite, right? Like AI took all the creativity work he's now developing and creating picture and music, and we do all the hard work. Like we need to still wash the dishes and fold the laundry, but this will be solved as well. So, but it's funny how different is that from what we thought it will be.
Agreed, for sure. You've had kind of an interesting journey to get here. I mean, you've gone from startups to leading engineering at Bit with some really kind of interesting stops along the way. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you got here?
Sure. So a few words about myself. So like I said, I'm working at Bit like in the past 8 years. But actually, I have like a few more like roles or places in life, except of being like father to four kids, which is like full-time job on its own. I'm also managing few communities, few development-related communities. Like one is MCP. If people of the audience hear this term in the past 5 months, let's say, MCP Israel and NA10 Israel, which is a popular automation and agentic workflows tool. And I'm also like having like another brand of smart automation and home automation. So I have my own podcast and blog on YouTube about home automation. So I connect my laundry machine to my coffee machine because it's cool. It's in Hebrew, so for the listener who don't know Hebrew, this specific uh, brand and stuff. I do it as a hobby. It's not my profession as a work. And I do a lot of like content and public speaking and podcasting. And actually, before joining to Beat, I had my own startup. So I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm also like a mentor many times in the past 10 years for startup, for entrepreneurs, for developers, for team leaders, every time something else. I'm also a little bit of angel investor in some startup. But basically what guide me and how I get here is that I believe that our role in this planet is to make it better for the next generation. I know how cliche it sounds, but this is what I believe in. And I want to do the most impact I can do to make the world better and use my best skills for this. And like I said, I see software as is like a multiplier of every industry. Software is changing everything, even before AI. So what I want to do is not only write software, but to multiply the developer. So I multiply the multipliers. So that's how I do the most impact. Actually, before joining Bit, after we shut down our startup, which didn't work very well, unfortunately, I did interview for 52 different companies in 1 month. I did around, I think, 200 interviews in 1 month, like 6 interviews every day, which is crazy. Don't try it at home.
I was gonna
Uh,
say that is
it's
crazy. Wow.
yes,
That
it's
is
insane.
crazy.
Yes, because I want to, I had many requirements and many stuff that I want to achieve in my job. And like, I did a very strategic plan about like where I want to be, what I want to do, which kind of people I want to work with, how do I connect to different products and how they affect the world. So I really invest full time on this stuff in order to join the best place where I can utilize my skill and be happy. And 8 years after, I'm still here, which is not common in the tech industry. So
That's true. That's
probably
true.
this works very well for me.
No, I mean, that's so exciting. You have such a cool background. And I feel like someone that has had that experience of a startup like you have to where you are, any position of any company that you're in, if you have been at a startup, if you have brought in your own startup, if you've worked with others at a startup, if you've just been hired at the lowest point of someone else's startup, you still learn so much. It's a completely different experience to work at a startup than it is to work at any other type of company. And I would argue the lessons and the values when you do one yourself, when you work at one, when you have that experience to anything else you do in life is so invaluable. And I think that's it. You can tell the difference between people like yourself that are saying, I've applied for, 50 odd jobs a month. You have that grit to do that because you want to change the world. You want to make these things. And I agree. You sound so cheesy when you say that, but I love it because it's a real thing. And there's no way to say that without being cheesy. And it's important. We don't have enough people that really want to do that and really feel such passion for that. So I love that and really appreciate you for that. And I just want to ask, like, for our listeners, for our viewers today that are following this, that are thinking, how did he do this? How did he get to this point? I'd love if you had any lessons from your startup days that still influence how you lead teams today, or any advice that you could give to listeners that you think would really impact them.
First, if you want, you can come visit Israel. Everyone here is working for a startup. This is like, uh, this is how it works in Israel. Everyone either work for a startup or creating a startup because it's part of our, I don't know, culture, I guess, that we want to change the world and we believe we can do this. Sometimes we fail, of course. Many times we fail. So you can say from personal experience, it's really hard. But my team in Bit is like a very special and unique team, okay? And I develop a unique method in how I hire my people and who I want to hire. So I will do some name dropping, let's say. Guess some people will not understand exactly, but our team is composed from many people from across the world. So basically, I'm trying to hire one of the best, let's say, 3 to 5 people in the world in specific fields. So I have people like Zoltan. Okay, Zoltan, he created a very popular library. It's called PNPM. Everyone in the JavaScript industry knows this tool. Is one of the most talented developer. Everyone in the world know him. And I have JJ, who is in Singapore, and he one of the people who built Vue.js. And I gather this like very talented and skilled people because I want to be kind of like the stupid people in the room because I want to always surround myself with very smart people, so I can keep growing and keep learning. And I think that one thing that distinct like the best or like a people that make a change is that they not trying to be the smartest in the room, they are trying to be the dumbest in the room because then they can grow and improve all the time. And it's hard psychologically to do this because it basically means that many times you are the dumbest in the room. So it's not always a comfort place to be. And another thing that is I think very important is to feel comfortable outside of your comfortable zone. Okay, which is a bit a weird sentence to say, but being outside of your comfort zone is like a muscle that you need to work on. You need to put yourself outside of your comfort zone again and again and again until you feel safe outside of your comfort zone because the real growing is outside of your comfort zone. If it's if you do the same stuff every day and you feel okay, I know exactly what I'm doing, I don't need to think, I don't fail, it means that you are stepping on the place.
I love it. It's great. This has been really interesting. As a last question, I mean, you've been a world chess champ, you've been a pro debater. How do you sneak those skills into everyday life? I mean, I assume you're like the best at board games, but like super annoying at trivia night because you know everything.
Yes, I played with Kasparov, E1. Okay, I let him. Uh, yes,
Right.
and I think that since like a very little age, chess or not only chess, like very other different games. Like I used to do like a lot of in English, like judo and karate and kung fu and like don't know how to say this field in English. It teach you how to fail a lot, okay? Because failing is also part of the skills that you need to acquire, and better to acquire them, in a safe place like chess games that okay, nothing will really happen, but it's still really hard to lose. So you need to get used to lose. You need to get think about like what I'm doing now will affect what I'm going to do tomorrow and in 2 days. And chess is all about strategic and planning. Okay, all the time. This is the essence of this game. And if we are talking about debate, I'm also doing debate for like 10 years, like professional debating, competition, and stuff like this. And actually, I think debate is the hobby or place or something like this that give me the most skills for everyday life because our life, no matter what are you doing, you're talking to people. It can be like your kids, it could be your parents, it could be your wife or husband, and it could be like your manager or colleague, whatever. All the time we are talking about people, and all the time we are trying to push for stuff. We are trying to we think for something and we try to convince the other one, and the ability to talk very in a very coherent way, coherent way, and to build a logical statement. I guess that if you hear this podcast, you already see the structure in my speaking because I do this for a long time. It's become part of me. It's like a muscle memory. So the ability to build this logical stuff to respond and actually listen to the other side and understand what are the points that you are not agree and which point you are agree. So you let's say you put your focus on the relevant points and answer every point, and it it helps you to go to a lot of places. It helps you go on stage and give your opinion or a podcast like this, or even like in a meeting room in your work that you want to convince the manager to do something. So it's very, very practical. Like it's a game. Debate is a game which affects your life more than anything else.
Everything is a game. Everything really is a game.
Yes.
So that's, I mean, you absolutely spot on. Well, thank you so much for coming on the pod today. Is there any last thing that you want to tell our audience? Because honestly, you have informed me so much to the point where I need to take like a break just to like sink it all in and call Kevin and be like, let's compare notes. Because I feel like I learned almost too much today, but in the best way possible. Is there any last thing that you want to share with everyone?
Mm. Yes, the two last things. One, everyone that hear this episode is more than welcome to reach out to me to ask me question. I'm available mostly on LinkedIn. I guess we can put the link on the episode information. It's Gilad Shoham. You can reach out to me. I'm also available on X if you want, but you get better response time on LinkedIn because this is like my most active one. And so feel free to reach me and ask me about startups, about Beat, about OPI, about whatever you want. Also, if you want, if you are a developer, if you are a company that has software, which is like any company nowadays, and you want to try OPI, you can just go to bit.cloud, bit.cloud, and just give a prompt and see how it works. We have like a free tier, so you can use it without paying anything, and you will see hopefully great results that can help you grow your business or company. And I think that's all.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you too. It was great to be here.
So, Kevin, we just spoke with Gilad, and what are your tech takeaways? What'd you think?
I thought it was really interesting. I mean, again, I didn't really know much about composable architecture, and it's kind of interesting to hear him connect those dots and talk about sort of the future of AI. I do think it was interesting hearing some of his lessons about his debate days and his chess days. So I really thought it was good. I really liked it. What about you? What are your tech takeaways?
I like him. I like him because I feel like there's a clear difference between people that come on and they're salesy and they're fun. I like them. I have fun with them. I can be one of them myself. But the difference between that and then somebody who's just like passionate, they want to tell you about their product, they want to tell you about their plans, and they have this clear path of I'm so interested in this. And he has that. And he didn't have to sit here and sell us on it. He didn't have to make this a whole sales pitch. It was just this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. And I think it's a very unique, cool, he's just a unique, cool guy. It's a unique, cool thing. So all in all, I liked him a lot. I would definitely bring him back. I definitely, to his point of I want to see what's going to happen in 10 years. I'm ready for it, and I
Yeah,
think he's going to be one of those people in 10 years that we're going to look back and say he was on our podcast. And I
exactly.
and
I
I
agree.
hope I'm right on that.
Yeah, agreed. I think it's going to be interesting to follow him and see where he goes because you're right. You could tell. I mean, he's so interesting, so tech savvy, and you can tell he just loves it. And so, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, if you love what you do or you don't, and you want to talk about it, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us at contact@thattechpod.com. Head on over to www.thattechpod.com, which remember, it's the World Wide Web, and I'm still saying it, www. But it's an important thing to remember. Enter your email, subscribe, buy some swag, do what feels right. But most importantly, we're on LinkedIn, my social media of choice. So head over to linkedin.com/thattechpod and follow us, reach out to us. Let's get crazy. Kevin, is there anything else our listeners can do?
Yep. Go to wherever you get your pods, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or what have you, and leave us a review, leave us a rating, let us know how we're doing. All that stuff helps us with the algorithms and gets us out there, which is much appreciated. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.